Welcome back. So this is my Beltane plans. I'm a little late today because it's now actually Beltane, but like, we tried. For those of you who are not in the loop, I have been very busy the last week of April because my third novel, I've been really focused on trying to get that done. And so I'm currently waiting on my manuscript to get here. I ordered a proof copy of it, so like, it's like so close to being done. I'm so stoked. Like, y'all don't have any idea how, like, it's the most exciting part about being an author is when you get the physical of your book and you're like, oh my god, I did that. Best feeling ever. So I am anxiously waiting for that, but that's what I did for the last like week or so of April, was get to that point. So now we're a little behind, to say the least. So nonetheless, here we are, it's Beltane, here's my plans. So the biggest plan is obviously having a fire. I love to do a fire for most of the holidays, and Beltane is no exception. Planning to do some sort of a barbecue with that fire. We've gotten on a kick recently of the same food, but it's so good, so like every weekend we've been doing this. No doubt we will be doing it again, and that is a specific type of hot dog. It's jalapeno and cheddar, and it is like so good, but it must be paired with a Hawaiian bun. There's something about the sweet and the spice that just is perfect, because I don't like too much of like spicy foods, and without the Hawaiian bun, it is like a little bit too spicy, but because it's like a sweeter bread, it is perfect. So we've been doing that like every weekend, and so nonetheless, we'll continue with this weekend. Have some sort of a side. I don't know what we're gonna do. And then we're also going to be baking a pie. I am planning to do a cherry pie just because like our cherry tree is starting to bloom and I'm honoring Freya at this time, and I just felt like a red kind of fruit would be most appropriate, where I would have done like apple for Ostara with Adun. So now we're doing like a cherry pie. I don't know that she has any association to any fruit as Freya, but like, that's the one I decided to do. Obviously, with the fire, we are going to be doing ritual afterwards, using that fire. Some people will make a sacred fire and then like immediately jump into ritual. We're using our fire first and then gonna do ritual around it. Odds are good we're not gonna actually jump the fire because like, danger. So like, that's just one of those traditions that we're probably not going to include, but we'll still have our Beltane fire regardless. Of course, in our ritual, we'll be doing a card pull. I'm probably going to use the deck I've been using a lot, which is the Enchanted Forest or something like that, or Enchantment of the Forest tarot deck. I know I did a flip through of it semi-recently, like within the past year. So at some point I talked about that deck. It's gorgeous. I love it. So we'll probably use that as our deck of choice to pull for the season. And usually when I do that, sometimes I'll do a spread, sometimes it's just like a one card deal of like, what does the season have for us? And so we'll decide at that point if we do like a 3 card or a 1 card or whatever. Also planning to do some like, not quite like fertility work, because I hate saying that, but like fruition work, because like I'm working obviously on my career and stuff, and so I've got the one book that's going to be getting really close to publication during the Beltane season, and I'm working on writing another one. So I have a lot of magic for that, because, which I guess is kind of a Beltane plan, but kind of just like another like reminder, is that I am working on my Witchcraft Death book. And so that I kind of put to the side because I can't do 2 projects at once, I've decided. So it's coming back to the forefront. And so during the Beltane season, I'm planning to get the first draft, if not the first 2 drafts, done by the time Freya season's over, by the time Beltane is over. Another part of the Beltane plan, obviously I've mentioned this a few times, I'm working with Freya during this time. And honestly, working with Freya this round has been very interesting because I've been finding multiple facets of her. And of course, obviously, for the Norse, like, perfectionist, purist, reconstructionist crowd, ain't for you. This is for my witches out there that are like, do what you want kind of thing. We're big into UPG. Those people. You're my people. So working with Freya, I've kind of gotten to 3 main parts of her, but kind of a 4th could be included as well. And that is having her obviously as the lover, not a mother at all, not leading into that, just as the face of a lover, and staying there, not trying to get pregnant, just staying in the lover phase. And then also to have her in a magic phase, because she is like kind of the main goddess for satyr magic, I think that's how you pronounce it, but the like feminine magic of the Norse culture. And so I just kind of look at her as overall magic, because she also has runes associated with her. Like she has a whole set of them just for her. So I associate her just overall magic, and that's one aspect of her. And then also, again, the fruition side of her, the fertility, the abundance of the land. She is like a earth deity of sorts. She's all about growing and plants and harvest and all of that stuff. So the fruition side, but in the context of what I'm trying to bring into my life, which is mostly my career this time. And then that fourth part that is like, maybe, but I'm not really using that part of her, not really working with it, is her as the death goddess, because, and like the warrior, because like that's another part of Freya. She has a lot of aspects to her, but I'm really focusing on those first three during the season of Beltane. I also recently just updated my altar for the first time in a long time. I cleared off my dresser top and I put an altar there for her, and I've got all sorts of stuff. I'll do a full video showing the altar soon, so keep an eye out for that. As part of our Beltane ritual, I'm also planning on putting like a blessed charged candle into the fire. Instead of jumping over the fire, we're just putting a candle into it and calling it a day. Probably we'll end up doing a meditation with Freya, and then also doing like the passing of the torch, so to speak, of like saying goodbye to Idun and her season of Ostara and moving into the season of Freya at Beltane. This is just my own like personal chaos of a Wheel of the Year. I do not follow any particular tradition. This is just what seems to be working so far, and already some of the points in the Wheel of the Year I've had to adjust. Like Yule needs some work, Imbolc needs some work, but Ostara and Beltane and Mabon are like perfect. It's just some of the other ones I gotta work on. So anyways, I'm very excited to be working with Freya though for the next like, what, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that, until it's the summer solstice. And of course, you can't have Beltane without fresh flowers, so I've got some fresh flowers. I've got some upstairs and some on my altar. And the last thing of Beltane is working on yard work. With Freya being like one of the like earth goddesses kind of thing, it felt only appropriate to do some yard work, and so I will be cleaning out around our flower beds and just cleaning up the yard, getting ready for spring, and actually like bringing out like the hoses and like getting all of the like furniture and stuff that's been hidden away from the snows, brought that back out, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, some of this is in one day, some of it's throughout the season. Getting your yard prepped and ready for summer is like a huge journey. And like weeding out the garden sucks, and you can't do it all in one day. But doing little bits at a time, stuff like that. So I don't have a whole lot of stuff planned for Beltane, but that's what I am planning to do throughout the season of Beltane. I would love to hear what you guys are doing in the comments down below. Huge thank you to my patrons. I'll have their names here on the screen. If you'd like to support me and get access to exclusive content, it is patreon.com/nightwillowcrafts. Make sure to like and subscribe. I post every single day, and until next time, thank you so much for watching, and blessed be.